Hey guys, how's it going, and welcome to a new video, and welcome to a Newcastle United keep or sell video. Now, I did one of these last summer, loads of you guys enjoyed it, so I'm doing it again for this summer, which means behind me we have the backwards wrapping paper once again. Thankfully this video is not about cutting a straight line, but it is about these players behind me, all of the Newcastle players we have seen feature this season, along with a couple of extras like Colback and Lazar, and I'm going to go through all of them and say whether I want to keep them, sell them or loan them. So make sure to get your comments down below to let me know what you think of each of these players, as this is just my opinion, and I want to know what you guys think as well. So yes, let's get into it. We're going to start things off with an easy one. Dubravka, massive tick. We've only just signed him, so if he left in the summer I'd be pretty upset. The rest of the goalkeepers gets a little bit more difficult. I mean, one that I think looks like he's on his way out, and I think will definitely be going, is Sells. Came in, didn't impress, went back out on loan straight away, and I think, or it looks like, Anderlecht are going to pick him up. Woodman is the one I definitely want to keep. The question is, do we want him in the squad, training with the team, learning from the team, or do we just want to send him out on loan where he will get that first team experience? Now, Darlow and Elliott, I think it's clear from what's happened with bringing Sells in, it didn't work out, bringing Dubravka in, and it did work out, is that Rafa doesn't think Darlow and Elliott are Premier League material. Darlow maybe not yet, and Elliott no. So for me, I would be happy to see either of them leave. Well, not happy, but to make room for Dubravka, the number one, maybe Woodman sitting on the bench for a season or heading out on loan. At the end of the day, we're going to need 3 goalkeepers in the squad. I think now that we've signed Dubravka, unless we brought in a new young goalkeeper, it's unlikely we're going to sign another goalkeeper. And because of that, we need 3 goalkeepers. So if Woodman sits on the bench this year, I think it's likely that maybe one of them 2 would go and the other one would be the number 2. If Woodman did go out on loan, then I think it's likely that they would both stay. So it's a tough one. For me, as long as we had the backup in place, then I wouldn't mind them going. But at the same time, Dubravka's our number 1, Woodman's our man for the future, and then we need to have the squad players. So it's a little bit messy, but hopefully you understand what I'm saying. Yeah, let's look at the right backs. So over in right back we have Yedlin, who's done a good job for us. Rafa has said he wants to strengthen the right back position because Yedlin doesn't have much competition, and I think you have to agree with that. Gomez is actually out of contract, so I very much doubt we're going to sign him on a new deal. Manquillo, who again could also play left back, I can see why Rafa brought him in. We were a bit short-staffed. We needed some subs, some players for the team. Because he can play both sides, we've seen him feature at the start of the year until Dummett got fit, and then we've not really seen him again. Unfortunately, I don't think he quite cuts it for us, especially as we're trying to improve the squad. I think he could be one to go. I put Sterry on there. I think he's been a bright prospect for us, but he still hasn't really made that break into the team. I think I will be happy to give him another loan. But at the same time, I think if a cash offer came in for him, I think it might be time for him to move on. But as it stands, I'm happy to keep him on the roster. He does just need to get that experience, and hopefully with another year he may step it up. Switching myself around to the left backs, we've got Dummett, who has done very well for us this season, so I'm more than happy to keep him for sure. Then we've got Haidara and Lazar. Now, Haidara is actually out of contract this summer. Again, like Gomez, I don't think he's a player we're going to offer a new deal to. And then we've got Lazar. Now, we haven't really seen a lot of Lazar. We put him out on loan. He had a lot of issues with that loan deal, not getting selected for the squad he was at the team of in the end. I think if an offer came in for Lazar, I would take it. but at the same time, I don't think he's really had his chance to shine or to do much for us. There was the questions when he came in, was he even a left back? Should he be playing further forward? Because we haven't really got, I mean, Haidara looks like he's definitely gone. So then we've got Dummett. If Manquillo goes, who could have played left back, we've literally just got the one. I mean, Clark could potentially play there, and even then, Dummett's technically a bit of a centre back. So as it stands, I'm happy to keep him, but similar with a couple of players on here, I think if someone did come in and offer us for him, I would accept it, providing we had the opportunity to bring someone else in. Centre backs. Now, we actually have 4 what I think are very good centre backs. We've got Lascelles, the captain, fantastic. Lejeune, the partnership there has been amazing. And speaking of that partnership, I think it really has kept out Clark and Mbemba. Clark, Lascelles did a great job in the championship together once Lejeune came in. And then at the start of the season, we did have a bit of a mishmash of who was actually playing when Dummett was injured. We're seeing Mbemba out on the left, Clark out on the left. And again, talking about depth of squad, like, I'm happy for players to leave because we need to bring money in to buy new players, but I really don't want to lose that depth. And for me, I know 4 centre-backs could be seen as maybe too many. You definitely want 3. I would be happy to keep them both. As long as they were happy with, really, they're going to be playing backup to these 2. There's rumours that Mbemba's already in talks with Anderlecht, so I think he could go. But I'd like for them to stay and fight for their place, you know. We've got our main 2, and we've got 2 that you could probably say aren't as good as the other 2. But you need squad players, you need players to push people forward, and you need backup. So I'm very happy, to be honest, to keep all 4 of them. We'll have to just see whether these 2 are actually happy playing second fiddle. It doesn't look like Mbemba is, so if he did go, maybe even bring in a new centre-back to challenge with these 2. I mean, if we sign a new centre-back, I think that's Mbemba gone, and Clark may reconsider what he wants to do if there's a 3rd player ahead of him. But as it stands right now, with no new signings, unless they desperately wanted to go for the money to buy a new centre-back, I'm happy with the 4. We'll start right wing. Richie, obviously, we're keeping him. He's done us a great job. Murphy, we brought him in, 12 million price tag. He hasn't really had a huge amount of game time. He's young, and he has impressed on occasions. He's just one of those players that I think is a bit of a confidence player. When he's playing well, he plays well. If he comes off the bench with 10 minutes to go, he doesn't get a touch of the ball, he's obviously not going to look good. So I am happy to keep him. I think, hang on, that's the wrong pen. I am happy to keep him, but it's a funny one. I mean, you want to bring players in who are young and talented, and you want to see them progress in the team. But when you've got players like Richie and players like Kennedy we've had this season, he hasn't really had much of a chance. But I think he needs time to prove that. I think he needs time to learn, to get better. If someone came in and offered us the 12 million we paid for him, no, I don't think I would take it. I think we need to hold on to him for a little bit longer. Yes, he hasn't had a great first season, but at the same time, he hasn't had a lot of time either. So keep a hold of him, see how he does for the next year, maybe even the extra year. Spinning around again to the left side, as I mentioned, really all of our wingers can kind of play on both sides. Kennedy, well, I mean, I'm going to put a tick next to him, but really, he's not our player. I'd love to sign him. 20 million, 15 to 20 million is the supposed fee. He was so good for us last year, you just want to pay it. Obviously I want to pay it. If we had the funds and Rafa had the money, then yes, get him. There's other clubs interested. Chelsea are getting a new manager in. It's really up in the air at the moment. Kennedy made the comments that he did want to come back to Newcastle, and if there's other teams interested, that definitely gives us the advantage. It's really the money and how we're planning to spend it in general. Yes, I would love us to sign Kennedy, but it's just the money and the other teams and the Chelsea new manager that's a bit of a barrier. We've got Atsu. yes, I'm happy to keep Atsu. Again, it's squad depth. Fair enough, we can have a first team of 11 players. If we then start selling our whole bench to afford maybe 1 or 2 other great players, it's going to thin out. So yes, I don't think Atsu is as good as Kennedy or Richie. Probably a little bit better than Murphy, but at the same... Well, yes, I'd say yes, he is better than Murphy, but Murphy's got age and time on his hands where Atsu doesn't so much anymore. If a big offer came in for Atsu, or even any offer, I'd certainly consider it, but at the same time, you've just got to look at how many players we're actually letting go. Aaron's is a funny one. He's been plagued with injury. He's had his own personal issues. If Aaron came back and started the season for us and played like how we have seen him play, or the way how good he can be, then 100% I would keep him. But at the same time, he's had his time and the injuries have held him back, and he's never really secured that first team spot in the team yet. I mean, if we're looking at the two, Atsu and Aaron's, I think if we're going to let a winger go, for me it would probably be one of the two. But like I said, don't start selling him, and then find out we've got no one left. I mean, if we're bringing in a new winger, then yes, we need to start looking at who we want to keep and who we want to sell, like I'm doing in this video. But, yeah, like I said, they're not world beaters, but they're good options from the bench. And until we have better players to come in front of them, we don't just want to willy-nilly let people go. So we're going to have to see what happens in the summer. Offers in for them, yes, I'd consider them, but right here, right now, I'm happy to see them on the bench next season, and maybe if Aaron's can get back to what he used to be, he could be really good for us. Centre midfield, Shelvey and Diarme have been massively important for us in the second half of the season. Obviously, I'm going to keep them. Marino, yes, I want to keep him. Now, there's a lot of rumours about Marino, about Spanish clubs interested, whether he's settled on Tyneside and whether he wants to go for first team football after seeing how well Shelvey and Diarme have done. He came in and looked really good, and a lot of players said how great he did look. But since his injury, and because of how well these two players have done, he slipped down the pecking order. Now, I would much rather see Marino stay and fight for his place in the squad. I mean, you're looking at these two, and then I've missed someone off, so I'll quickly get my pen. You're looking at these two, Shelvey and Diarme. As I mentioned earlier, you want your first 11, but you need the depth, okay? So you've got these two, and then you look at these other 4. If there's one you want to be on the bench or in the squad, it's that man there. So if he went, we're looking at Colback and Survey. Hayden, yes, I used to like a lot, but I don't know how much he's really improved this season. That doesn't look, for me, that doesn't look like a nice bench. But he is a good player. I want to keep him. I'm hoping Rafa can get his mind in the right place and he can continue and fight for another season. I mean, yes, Diarme was fantastic, but the first half of the season he wasn't. And if he comes back and has a nightmare again, to have someone like that walk into the team is brilliant. Mention these players briefly there. Colback was seen out on loan at Nottingham Forest. It looks like they're interested in an offer, and from what we've seen, Rafa doesn't want him anymore. I mean, like, again, going back to what I said, when you've got these 3 players, he is not getting a look in. Survey, the forgotten man, to be honest, came back, scored that free kick against West Ham, so he did something for us this season. And he did play a couple of games. But I don't think he'll carry on. I mean, talking about squad players and stuff, I don't want to lose my depth, but if you're not cutting it, I think it's time to go. And unfortunately for me, Survey is one of them. Now, Hayden, he was my most improved or most surprisingly good player or something of the championship season. I had no idea who he was when he came in, and he was really good. Again, this season, he hasn't really featured much. I don't think when he's come on he's done badly, but it's hard to outshine other players who have looked great. Even Marino didn't have a huge amount of game time, especially after his injury or during his injury. But before then he looked great. Hayden, I don't think didn't really set the world alive. So he is still young. If a money offer came in for him, I think I would definitely consider it. But right here, right now, I'm happy for him to stay. Especially depending on what happens with Marino. Maybe a loan deal on Hayden. I don't know. I don't want to let, because of what I saw in the Championship. He does look like a really good player. Maybe even a loan back to the Championship to see how he does might be an option other than just selling him on, because I don't think his value will be particularly high right now after not seeing him all season. So I don't think we're going to get a lot for him. I think he maybe just needs a bit of time on that one. But let me know what you think of that and the midfielder situation. And then we move down to the strikers, or for starters, the attacking midfielders. Perez, yes, I want to keep him. I mean, similar to the whole team, wasn't having a great start of the season. No one really was. And then came out our top goal scorer. And considering we're meant to have these players scoring all the goals, this man stepped it up. So I know a while, like it feels like forever ago when he was having an amazing time with us and there was loads of other clubs interested, and then it all kind of whittled down a bit as he wasn't playing as well. I'm hoping he can come back next year and continue that form. We know Rafa wants a new number 10, because realistically, if he's going to continue playing the system he does, Perez is the only man who can really sit in there. So I think it will be good to give him some competition, but we can't let him go after the season he's just had, or the second half of the season he's just had. And moving down to strikers. Now, I've got all these names here, and Perez was the top goal scorer. So this is going to be a bit of a tricky one. I mean, we'll start with an easy one. He's not our player anyway, and it was Slimani on loan. Do not want to bring him on. They wanted 30 million for him, and then we got him on a loan, and that's how we did. So I'm so happy we did not spend that money on him. In fairness, he was injured and then he got himself sent off, but yeah, he looked alright, but for 30 million, no thank you. We've got Gale and Joselu. I've got Armstrong on there, as he is a young, bright talent. He scored a goal for the England under 23s last night, or Friday night. And then we've got Mitro over at Fulham, who did amazing for them in the Championship, got them promoted. One of the things everyone was talking about this year was we needed a striker. And now we're in the summer, we do need to go out there and buy a new striker. Break that transfer record, get a new striker. Gale and Joselu. I don't know if it's the system, but they just weren't scoring goals. There's teams in the Championship who are interested in what is a very good Championship goal scorer, Dwight Gale. He did it amazing for us, and then this season just couldn't do it. So I'm sorry, Gale, but if a good offer comes in, I'm going to take it, and I'm going to put that towards what I want to be a really good fund for a new striker. Joselu, he did all right. This is, again, I don't want to lose all my depth. I'm about to stand here and tell you I don't want any of them. But then we wouldn't have a striker and we'd have no backups. It's one thing selling everyone, buying a £30 million striker, but if they get injured, you're not left with anything. So you need to be careful with what you do here. I am going to say X to Joselu. If someone wanted to come in and offer us some money for him, I think I'd take it. Adam Armstrong, I've put him on there because I think he's been in the eye of managers, Rafa, us lot, watching. Like I said, he's doing wonders for the England under 23s, but he just isn't getting a look in. We keep shifting him out on loan, and sometimes it's successful and other times it hasn't been. Similar to Murphy, although he is in the starting squad, if you will. Armstrong hasn't. He keeps going out on loan. And again, I don't want to let someone go too early. Like I said, he's in the England under 23, so he's doing something right. We'll just need to get him on a good loan spell, and then maybe a year's time he could feature for the club. But it does sound like players like him, we are listening to offers for the fringe players who aren't in there, so we could see him leave. We'll have to see. And then we've got Mitro. Now, Fulham promotion, Mitro was a massive part of that, and it sounds like they're going to come in with a £15–20 million bid for Mitrovic. Now, I like Mitro. I think he did well for us in the Championship. What we saw of him in the Premier League just before what got relegated, I thought he did well as well. If someone's going to come in and offer us 15, 20 million, I don't think you can turn it down. I mean, Rafa's not a fan. He doesn't want to play him. And if someone came in and offered that money, I think you're guaranteed that Rafa's going to take it. So, of these three, you know what? He's the man I'd rather have come off the bench. If we're going to go out and spend a load of money on a brand new striker and keep one of these five, I would actually keep. He would be the one I would want to come off the bench and ruffle things up. But with Fulham getting promoted, I think he'll probably want to go as well. So I'm going to give him a tick. Because like I said, out of them lot, he's the one I want off the bench. But this is all coming down to us actually buying a striker, and if we want to have the money for that striker, his 15, 20 million is going to be massive. If Gale goes 10, 15 million, these two are basically profiting what will be hopefully be a new £30 million striker, and then it looks like Joselu will sit on the bench and Armstrong out on loan. So yeah, there you go. And that is it, guys. I feel like I've been talking forever, so I can barely remember what I said about these players up here, but make sure you get down in the comments and let me know your thoughts. It's going to be, I'm hoping it's going to be a good summer. Like I said, it does sound like a handful of names are going to be leaving the club. Hopefully we make the right deals and get them the right money to fill those places. If we're not going to be playing them in the first 11, someone young, fresh, good, who can sit on the bench or maybe just improve with the squad for the future. So, and because we need to sell players to make money, it's not always about whether I want them or don't want them. It's what can we do if I do let them go, which I think is why this video has been a little bit complicated. But yes, I'm hoping you've enjoyed it and you've enjoyed what I've said. Like I said, let me know down in the comments your thoughts. Drop a like on the video. I hope we've all had a great weekend. Thanks for watching and catch you later.